Hi everyone, please subscribe my YouTube channel. On my wedding day, my mother sent a text. Don't count on anyone showing up. Then I saw the group picture, all of them on a private beach in Maui. Caption, together at last. I sent one reply. Well timed. That night, I removed my name from the company charter and locked down every business expense account. A week later, my father was at my condo, flushed and hammering on the door. I opened it, sipped my coffee, and said, I don't even know what to call them anymore. Family, that word doesn't work. You don't skip someone's wedding and still claim that title. You don't jet off to a private beach, clink champagne glasses in the sunlight, and smile for a group photo on the day your only son exchanges vows and still call it love. I don't know what they are to me now, but they're not family. That ended the second I saw the photo. Let me backtrack. On my wedding morning, I was in the small dressing room at our venue, a quaint coastal lodge, nothing extravagant but serene. I was fixing my cufflinks when my mom's text came through. Don't count on anyone showing up. Good luck. No punctuation, no explanation, just those words. I stared at my phone for a full minute, convinced it was a mistake. I even double-checked the sender as if I didn't know her number. I restarted my phone, thinking I'd misread it. But no, that was it. That was the farewell from the people who raised me. Natalie was down the hall, getting ready. She didn't know. She assumed they'd arrive late. I never told her the full story of how they felt about her. When we got engaged, my mom called her gritty, and my dad said she wasn't a smart match. I didn't know people spoke like that outside of old dynasties or corporate deals. They didn't like that her family wasn't rich, that her dad was a truck driver, her mom a store clerk, that she came from a small town. They smiled in public but sneered in private. I hoped deep down they'd come around. They didn't. I kept glancing at the entrance as the ceremony began. The seats for my family stayed empty, every single one. Not even a message from my sister, who once said I was her lifeline during her divorce. She couldn't be bothered to send an excuse, but Natalie, she was radiant. Her smile held the world together. I focused on her. I didn't let them ruin it, at least not outwardly. We said our vows, we kissed. The crowd cheered. The reception was small but lively. Her family danced all night. Our college friends raised cheap champagne and shared goofy stories. No one mentioned my empty side of the aisle. Maybe they assumed something came up. Later, I stepped outside for a beer and some air. That's when I saw it. The post. My cousin, who never mastered privacy settings, shared a photo that hit harder than anything my family had ever said to me. There they were, on a private beach in Maui. Ocean waves in the background. Sunglasses, flowy dresses, open shirts. My parents, my sister and her husband, 2 aunts. Even my dad's business associate, who isn't even related. Glasses raised, arms around shoulders, tanned and beaming. It looked like a travel ad. The caption, together at last, love triumphs. Family always. They didn't just skip my wedding. They planned a rival celebration, a family gathering without me. They chose my wedding day to do it, then posted it like they wanted me to see, like it was a deliberate message. I went back inside, kissed Natalie on the cheek, and danced until midnight. Then I went silent. The next Monday, I walked into the office like nothing had happened. The receptionist greeted me. I smiled, went to my office. My name was still on the company charter. I still held the admin access. I controlled the corporate cards, the joint accounts, the assets I'd helped build with my dad from scratch. By noon, I'd filed papers to remove myself from the business. By 4, I froze every company expense account tied to the family. Phones, fuel, travel, hotels, everything. I timed it to hit midweek, right as they were winding down their trip. By evening, the group chat exploded like a siren. My dad texted first, then my sister. Then the calls started. I ignored them all. I was on the couch with my wife, eating leftover cake. Finally, I sent one reply, well timed. Then I turned off my phone and poured some wine. There was nothing more to say. A week of silence. That's all it took for them to break. After the photo, after the text, after the wedding, after I froze the accounts and pulled myself from the business we'd built over a decade, I didn't answer a single call. Not one response to the desperate messages piling up. Not even when my sister asked if I'd lost my mind. I just watched from a distance as the cracks appeared. Natalie sensed a change but didn't pry. She knew if I hadn't spoken yet, I wasn't ready. We were settling into married life. Small habits, morning coffee, cooking together at night. She started a freelance project, filling our apartment with a warmth I hadn't realized I'd missed. We were happy, exhausted but happy. Then came the knock. It was 6:50 a.m., still foggy outside. I was in the kitchen in a t-shirt and boxers, sipping coffee when the pounding started. Sharp, loud. Like someone wanted to break the door down. I didn't need to guess. I knew who it was. I opened the door, and there was my father, face red, dressed in his usual crisp shirt and tailored pants, like a boardroom outfit would give him control. His Maui tan still fresh, mocking me. He didn't ask to come in. Didn't ask how I was. He just launched into it. Yelling about how I'd humiliated him, crippled the family, how freezing the accounts mid-trip left them stranded and scrambling. They had to use personal cards, he said. My sister and her husband had just bought a second home, counting on the cash flow. I had no right, he insisted. I'd wrecked everything. I stood there, sipping coffee, and when he paused for air, I said calmly, I gave you every chance. You made your choice. Something shifted. His anger turned bitter. He called me dramatic, said missing one event shouldn't destroy a family. He called it a misunderstanding, like it wasn't intentional, like actions don't have consequences. He said I owed him because he built the business, gave me a start that without him I was nothing. That's when it clicked. We were never on the same page. I told him the charter changes were final. My shares were now in a holding company. If they wanted the business back, they could buy it full market price, cash up front. I said the cards were done, the perks frozen, the leases, the travel accounts, all of it. He asked what I expected them to do. I said, figure it out, and shut the door. He pounded on it, yelling threats I'd heard before. I didn't open it. I sat down, finished my coffee, and flipped through wedding photos. None featured my family, but everyone radiated joy. Later, I called my lawyer and locked everything down, cutting off their access to shared accounts, canceling auto pay for the second house my sister had just bought, using my name to secure the loan. Not anymore. They'd leaned on me for years without noticing. They got used to things just appearing, trips, bailouts, quiet investments. I'd kept the machine running while they posted beach photos and whispered about my wife not belonging. Now the machine was off, and they were feeling the grind of it stopping. It started small, a few declined payments. The company car got flagged, the dealership called me out of habit. A vendor emailed about an overdue invoice, then late rent on the office. I didn't say a word, just watched. By the second week, the panic showed. My sister asked in the group chat if someone could cover the lake house bills. My dad responded with vague promises. My aunt's card got declined, booking a flight. My cousin asked if the company still covered his insurance. Still, no apology. Not one, just confusion and entitlement, like I'd vanished for no reason. Like I hadn't spent a decade managing the financial chaos they never grasped. I built the systems they leaned on. Tax strategies, trusts, investments. They never asked how, never cared. Then the mortgage hit. My sister and her husband had just moved into a shiny new house in the suburbs. 3 bathrooms, perfect lawn. A year ago, I'd co-signed quietly. She didn't ask, she didn't need to, but now, that safety net was gone for all of them. She'd cried about not qualifying, and I'd stepped in. It felt right then. But after I locked the accounts and her income got flagged, the loan fell apart. They missed the deposit, and I got the notice. My name was still on the contract. The loan officer asked if I'd back it. I said not anymore. 3 days later, my sister called. No congratulations, no apology, just, you can't do this to us. I let it ring out and blocked her number. That night, Natalie and I ate dinner on the couch. She didn't know everything. I didn't think she needed to. What mattered was we were solid, building something real. A week later, our old accountant called, said the quarterly reports were a disaster, asked if I'd really cut all access. I said yes. He paused, then said, I wondered when you'd stop carrying them. He was right. 3 weeks after the wedding, the silence changed. Still no remorse, just quiet maneuvering. I was up late, finalizing papers for a startup I'd funded without telling my dad, when I got an email from one of his old contacts asking to meet and preserve the legacy. I didn't reply. 2 days later, a law firm sent a document, a proposal for reintegrating partnership and brand recovery. Buried at the end was a clause about realigning personal connections. It didn't name Natalie, but it didn't need to. I closed the laptop. The next night, Natalie and I got home from dinner to find my mother outside. No bag, no umbrella, just standing there. She said she came alone, that things had gone too far, that someone had to be mature. I told her she wasn't there to fix anything, just to bargain. Then she said calmly, you know, deep down, she doesn't fit the future we built. Natalie stayed silent. She didn't need to speak. I looked my mom in the eye and said, you built that future without me the moment you landed in Maui. I took Natalie's hand and walked past her. That night, I got another email, subject, urgent. A lawsuit for breach of fiduciary duty. That's when I knew they were ready to fight. And I realized I was, too. When the legal papers arrived, I felt nothing. They accused me of sabotage, interference, reputational damage. Legal jargon. I handed it to my attorney, Lena. She didn't blink, just read it quietly, the kind of quiet that says everything. After skimming the first page, Lena looked up and said, "They're trying to trap you before they fall apart." I nodded. "Then let them fall." She got to work. What they never understood was, while they were jetting first class and playing executive, I kept the foundation solid. I had every record. Expenses, emails, board calls, even recordings. I didn't need threats, just a few quiet moves. I alerted our logistics partner, backed out of the HQ lease guarantee, and sold my last shares in the subsidiary. The collapse started on its own. Then came the HR tip. My sister applied for a job, claiming she'd been managing director for 4 years, using my name as a reference. I sent one message, "Never use my name again." No reply. Her LinkedIn disappeared hours later. I wasn't angry. I was done. By spring, the business folded quietly. No bankruptcy, no news, just silence. Natalie and I had moved, new place, bigger windows, a kitchen she adored. Life got calmer, clearer, the lawsuit fizzled. Lena dismantled it effortlessly. No apology, just retreat. One last letter came from my father, full of excuses and cherry-picked memories, ending with, "We were right to shield the family from outsiders." Even now, he saw Natalie as the threat. I tossed the letter and moved on. That summer, Natalie and I took a road trip. No itinerary, no pressure, just us. One night by a lake, she asked if I'd ever speak to them again. I said, "They said goodbye already. They just didn't know it." Almost a year later, an email came from Jeremy Heller, a trust attorney. He represented a hidden fund from my grandfather, the one person on my dad's side who truly understood me. A trust locked until I turned 35. The condition? No ties to the family business. I'd met it. Within a week, it was confirmed, not just cash, properties, investments, even a warehouse of art I didn't know existed. And a typed note from my grandfather: "If they ever choose themselves over you, walk away and don't look back. I'll be waiting on the other side." Natalie cried when I told her, not for the wealth, but because for once someone from my family chose us. Now we're building something new, not from legacy or spite, but from values they never grasped: quiet loyalty, true love, and the courage to walk away.